Alright, bourbon hunters, here's the deal. Your girl is taking notes from the bourbon gods herself, aka my husband, stealing ideas from my buddy Nick Coulter and still sneaking in my own mad scientist experiments. I've been tinkering with my brand new shiny mic, made a few tweaks to this episode, and I'm bringing you Bourbon Hunter Anonymous therapy exactly how you like it. Messy, honest, and full of bourbon love. Ever wonder why two barrels from the same distillery taste totally different? Welcome to the secret life of bourbon barrels. Today, we're breaking down how rickhouses turn whiskey into personalities. From sunny top floors that pump out spicy, barrel-proof monsters, to shaded, lower floors that birth silky, dessert-style sippers. Floor, sun, airflow, humidity, rivers, it all matters. Bourbon is not just aged, it is raised, and the rickhouse is its hometown. Every warehouse develops a distinct personality shaped by airflow, humidity, temperature swings, sun exposure, floor height, nearby water, construction materials like concrete or dirt floors, open versus sealed windows, location on the distillery's campus, and even tree lines and shade. Barrels don't simply sit. They breathe daily as heat pushes whiskey into the wood. Cool temperatures pull it back out. Alcohol and water evaporate. Oxygen sneaks in, and flavor compounds oxidize and rearrange. Airflow determines how aggressively and how cleanly this breathing happens, giving each rickhouse its own vibe. Fun fact, a single rickhouse can contain dozens of microclimates, meaning barrels only a few feet apart can age like they grew up in different towns. High airflow rickhouses, the open, windy, ventilated hilltop warehouses with windows flung wide, slatted walls, ridge vents, and constant gusts of wind, are the loud, extroverted cousins of the bourbon family. These buildings don't let barrels sit quietly like introverts at a party. Instead, they turn them to extreme, aging athletes, throwing them into daily workouts of faster evaporation, heavier oxygen exposure, dramatic proof swings, and harder wood extraction. All that oak extraction releases tannins, those slightly bitter, tea-like compounds that make your mouth feel dry, give bourbon structure, and whisper, "I'm fancy and serious about my business." The result? Bourbons that come out darker, drier, spicier, and louder, loaded with cracked pepper, heat, dry oak, bitter dark chocolate, roasted coffee, and cedar. These are the high-proof statement bourbons, the barrel-proof monsters that don't ask politely if you want a sip. They demand it, stare down your glass, and dare your palate to keep up. On the flip side, low airflow rickhouses are the introverted cozy cousins. Sealed, sheltered, often tucked into river valleys or lower floors where humidity, warmth, and moisture lounge around like it's a lazy Sunday. Evaporation slows, oxygen tiptoes in, esters get to shine, tannins behave themselves, and extraction happens gently, producing silky, sweet bourbons dripping with honey, caramel, red fruit, pie filling, banana, and buttercream. These are the classic dessert pours, the kind of bourbon you'd want to cuddle with on a chilly evening, not wrestle it in a taste-off. Proof itself is really an airflow story. In high airflow warehouses, alcohol evaporates faster, and proof rises, giving you that chest-thumping barrel-proof burn. In low airflow warehouses, water tends to sneak out first, proof falls, and sweetness takes center stage. Airflow quietly decides everything: burn, mouthfeel, heat, sweetness, balance, and even whether a bourbon will flirt with your taste buds or punch them in the face. That's also why two barrels sitting side by side can taste completely different. Microcurrents create dry spots, moist pockets, pressure gradients, and temperature layers. One barrel drinks syrupy and gentle, the other spicy and sharp. And when you pour both, you're not witnessing magic, you're witnessing air at work. Modern distilleries have caught on, designing rickhouses like flavor machines, adjustable vents, orientation to sun and wind, stack height control, concrete versus dirt floors, ridge venting literally shape bourbon personalities before the barrel is even filled. Bourbon isn't just age, it breathes its own hometown air, and that invisible atmosphere is the secret sauce nobody prints on the label. Single barrels feel alive because they are. They don't just show a mash bill, they show zip codes. That's why one barrel is spicy, another a dessert bomb, another a dry oak monster, another buttery, and another hot enough to make your eyebrows sing. Move the same legendary mash bill, yeast, grain, and barrel to a different warehouse campus, and you might not even recognize it anymore. Different hometown, different soul. Fun fact, some master blenders can identify a barrel's original warehouse by taste alone, which is basically bourbon's version of psychic powers. Every bourbon barrel is constantly leaking alcohol and water vapor 24/7, and humidity is the ultimate gatekeeper, deciding which escapes faster. In high humidity rickhouses, river valleys, bottom floors, and tightly sealed buildings, the air is already soaked, so water doesn't want to leave. Alcohol escapes first, which gradually lowers proof, thickens mouthfeel, preserves sweetness and esters, keeps fruit notes bright, softens tannins, and gives the liquid a plush, glycerin-like texture. The result? Syrupy, fruity, candy-like, creamy, pie-filling bourbons that feel like dessert in a glass, comforting, indulgent, and perfectly cozy. In contrast, low humidity rickhouses that have windy hilltops, upper floors, and dry air warehouses act like bourbon boot camps. Dry air pulls water out faster than alcohol, raising proof, concentrating oak compounds, spiking tannins, intensifying spice, increasing dryness, and adding heat and thinning mouthfeel. These are your bold, loud, barrel-proof monsters, hot, peppery, dry oak forward with notes of coffee and dark chocolate, the kind of whiskey that kicks the door in and dares your palate to keep up. Proof swings aren't just about high-proof bourbon, they're airflow and humidity bourbon. One barrel might be a syrupy dessert bomb while its neighbor is a spicy high-proof weapon. And it all comes down to invisible air currents and moisture content. Distilleries guard their rickhouse maps like treasure because knowing which buildings and floors produce syrup bombs or spice grenades would let competitors clone their house style. Humidity doesn't just age bourbon, it defines its personality, deciding whether your whiskey ends up as a plush dessert or a fiery weapon. And that, my friends, is why bourbon is more about hometown air than just time in a barrel. So our first question up for trivia today. If your barrel spent all summer on a top floor in full sun with open windows, which personality would most likely develop? A, the chill dessert bourbon that hugs you. B, the spicy, barrel-proof monster that scares casual sippers. C, the shy flower bourbon that hides in the back. D, the bourbon that tastes like grape soda. And if you answered B, the spicy, barrel-proof monster that scares casual sippers, you are correct. The idea that I'm trying to drive home is that barrels aren't just passive spectators in the rickhouse. They're tiny pressure vessels that breathe within the seasons, expanding and contracting as temperatures rise and fall. Every swing pushes whiskey deep into the wood and then pulls it back out, extracting flavor compounds, tannins, sugars, and oils all along the way. Small temperature swings found in cool, stable, lower floor or river warehouses treat barrels like a gentle yoga class. The liquid barely moves, aging slowly and gracefully. Wood extraction is light. Grain and fruit notes stay bright, spice is soft, sweetness is high, mouthfeel is silky, and barrels enjoy a long grace period before over-oaking. The result is elegant, patient bourbon. Honey, cherry, toffee, cream, and floral notes dominate it. It's the bourbon equivalent of a calm Sunday morning with soft jazz and fresh pastries. Large temperature swings on top floors, under metal roofs, or on windy hilltops turn barrels into extreme athletes. The liquid is violently expanding and contracting with every seasonal mood swing, pulling out heavy oak, high tannins, dark spices, dry wood, coffee, cocoa, and even leather. Proof bounces around like it's had too much espresso, evaporation skyrockets, and the angel share gets its own workout. These are bold, muscular bourbons, spicy and intense. Barrel-proof monsters that stomp into your glass and demand attention. Here's the kicker. A 4-year barrel exposed to violent swings can taste older than a calm 8-year barrel because it's been pumped through oak more times, oxidized harder, and lived a seasonally dramatic life. Age statements don't tell the full story. Swing history does. Top floors are particularly brutal at 120 degrees plus summers, 20-degree winters, massive pressure shifts, extreme evaporation. Legendary barrels are born here, and ruined barrels are common. There's almost no middle ground. Low swings equal comfort. High swings equal adrenaline. In other words, when you sip your bourbon, you're tasting not just time, but how violently it grew up. Your whiskey didn't just age, it survived a personality test, complete with highs, lows, and a few identity crises along the way. So my next trivia question for you: why do top floor barrels under metal roofs make master blenders nervous? A, they're high-proof adrenaline junkies that can become legendary or disastrous. B, they refuse to be bottled. C, they turn green if ignored. D, they age slower than the bottom floors. And if you answered A, they're high-proof adrenaline junkies that can become legendary or disastrous, you are correct. Sun exposure creates directional aging. Barrels facing south or west under metal roofs or on upper floors soak in long, hot afternoons and radiant heat, accelerating daily heating cycles, pushing whiskey deep into the wood, and yanking it back out harder than a caffeine-fueled barista. That extra work extracts more tannins, oak sugars, spices, and color while ramping up evaporation, proof swings, producing bold, heavy hitters with flavors of cinnamon, toasted oak, coffee, dark chocolate, and even smoked caramel. The rock stars of the rickhouse. Shade-facing barrels, north walls, interior stacks, or tree-shaded corners lead a calmer life. Slower extraction preserves fruit, minimizes oak bitterness, keeps proof steady, and allows flavors to develop gently over time. The result is silky, sweet, dessert-style bourbon. Cherry, honey, toffee, floral, creamy bourbon that feels like it grew up lounging in a hammock. Distilleries map sun paths by season because sun-exposed barrels can gain years of flavor in a fraction of the time. Corners blasted by 2 sun-exposed walls with higher airflow, faster evaporation, and bigger temperature swings are louder, hotter, darker, and drier. They're prized, feared, and sometimes fought over. Sunlight isn't cosmetic. Bourbon has a sunny side and a shady side, and they grow up to be completely different personalities. Floor height adds another layer of flavor drama. Bottom floors are the calm childhood, cool, damp, and still, with low swings, high humidity, slow evaporation, falling proof, soft wood extraction, and preserved esters. The result is plush, silky dessert bourbons, the honeyed, fruity, creamy sippers that make you feel like you're getting a warm hug from the barrel. Middle floors are the golden zone. Moderate swings, balanced humidity, measured evaporation, strong sugar oak integration, and minimal over-oaking risk. These barrels form the chocolatey, nutty, honeycomb toffee backbone of many flagship releases, reliable and well-behaved, like the middle child everyone loves. Top floors are the survival childhood, hot, dry, and violent, with massive temperature swings, climbing proof, heavy extraction, high angel share, and fast aging. These barrels are high risk, high reward, producing bold, spicy, muscular, barrel-proof monsters. Legendary when they hit, and sometimes total drain floors when they miss. Distilleries guard rickhouse floor maps like treasure because placement is flavor engineering. You're not choosing brand, mash bill, or age. You're choosing where your bourbon grew up. That hometown air, sun, and floor decide whether it becomes a silky dessert, a chocolatey core, or a fiery powerhouse. And each sip carries a story of its rickhouse childhood. Which factor is basically bourbon's silent personality coach? A, the angel share. B, tree shade and nearby greenery. C, the master blender yelling at barrels. D, the mash bill. And if you answered B, tree shade and nearby greenery, you are correct. Nearby water doesn't just make for a pretty view. It writes the climate that shapes bourbon from the inside out. Rivers, creeks, lakes, and springs act like natural climate control systems, stabilizing temperature, boosting ambient humidity, softening extreme heat spikes, holding warmth overnight, and even creating fog and dew cycles that gently cradle each barrel. This means barrels age more evenly and gracefully. Inside the barrel, proof tends to drop as alcohol evaporates before water. Esters stay intact. Oak extraction is slower and cleaner. Bitterness is reduced, and the mouthfeel becomes luxuriously glycerin-like. The flavor? Thick honey, dark cherry, molasses, pie filling, banana foster, and cream. Rich, grounded, comforting bourbons that feel like they grew up in a spa. Historic distilleries have always hugged rivers, and not just for sipping convenience. Water gives predictable aging, reduces barrel loss, improves consistency, allows better blending control, and extends the aging window before bitterness creeps in. Move a distillery just a few hundred yards away from a river, and you could taste the difference. Because bourbon doesn't just age in barrels, it ages in climate. And water is an unsung hero quietly shaping every sip. What's the real reason corner barrels are so coveted? A, they get to watch the warehouse from the corner. B, they experience 2 sun walls, higher airflow, and more temperature swings, making them flavorful rock stars. C, they're magically sweeter. D, they skip the angel's share. And if your answer was B, they experience 2 sun walls, higher airflow, more temperature swings, making them flavorful rock stars, you got it. Rickhouses are living ecosystems, and every barrel is a keen little student, reading its environment and taking notes. The floor beneath it is a foundation of that education. Concrete floors act like disciplined teachers. They absorb heat during the day and radiate it at night, creating stable thermal swings, while their minimal water absorption keeps humidity slightly lower near the floor. The result is a clean, dry environment with less risk of mold or funky barrel smells. For bourbon, that translates into moderate to fast aging, cleaner, sharper flavors, a slightly drier mouthfeel, higher proof retention, and oak extraction that really flexes its muscles. These barrels produce structured, bold, linear bourbons with flavors of dry oak, spice, coffee, and dark chocolate. Disciplined bourbons that are precise, consistent, and sometimes a little intimidating. The straight-A students of the rickhouse world. The windows decide how much a warehouse actually breathes. Open windows are the free spirits of the bourbon world. With constant air exchange, more pronounced temperature swings, fluctuating humidity, and extra oxygen sneaking in, barrels age faster and more aggressively. Evaporation ramps up. Proof swings swing harder. Tannin extraction increases, and oxidation accelerates flavor evolution. Side-by-side barrels can taste wildly different thanks to the microclimate quirks. The result? Loud, spicy, woody, assertive bourbons with notes of coffee, dark cocoa, and bold pepper. Barrels that stomp into your glass and announce themselves. Sealed windows, on the other hand, are the quiet thinkers. Minimal airflow, stable temperatures, and higher humidity keep evaporation low and oxygen exposure limited. Aging is gentle, and patient. Proof swings are mild. Oak extraction is soft. Fruit and sweetness stay intact, and mouthfeel is smooth and creamy. These barrels produce plush, refined bourbons. The honey, dark cherry, caramel, toffee, cream, and floral notes dominate, inviting slow, contemplative sips. Why it matters? Open windows equal excitement, risk, and individuality. The warehouse chaos flavor. Sealed windows, consistency, control, and comfort. The dessert bourbon flavor. Master blenders often mix barrels from both to strike the perfect balance in flagship releases. And when you layer in floor height, sun, exposure, airflow, and humidity, the window type can completely flip a barrel's personality. Top floor open window sunny side, aggressive, spicy monster. Bottom floor sealed windows shady side, soft, syrupy angel. The windows aren't just glass, they're personality gates for your whiskey. Bourbon grows up in a living, breathing campus ecosystem, and exactly where a barrel lives on the property quietly writes its personality. Every distillery is surrounded by a patchwork of microclimates: hills, rivers, woods, roads, neighboring buildings, wind corridors, and sun exposure, all of which affect how a barrel breathes, sweats, and matures. River-adjacent barrels are the gentle growers: higher humidity from evaporation, more stable temperature swings, cooler summers, warmer winters, and subtle fog or dew cycles create a plush, even aging environment. Proof drops slowly, alcohol leaves first, oak extraction is soft and rich. Tannins are mild, sweetness preserved, and mouthfeel is silky. These barrels produce elegant, approachable bourbons with honey, dark cherry, caramel, cream, and a touch of earthy freshness. The comforting sippers that make you feel like bourbon is giving you a hug. Hilltop or exposed barrels, on the other hand, are the thrill seekers of the warehouse. High wind, dry air, greater sun exposure, scorching summers, and freezing winters create massive temperature swings that push whiskey deep into the wood and pull it back out aggressively. Evaporation is fast. Proof jumps up and down. Oak extraction hits hard. Tannins spike, and spice intensifies. These are bold, assertive, in-your-face bourbons loaded with dry oak, cinnamon, coffee, and dark chocolate. The high-risk, high-reward barrels that make legends or drain pours. Barrels tucked near other buildings or sheltered areas live in the middle ground, slightly protected from the sun and wind with moderate temperature swings and balanced airflow. Extraction is measured, oxidation controlled, and aging predictable, producing chocolatey, nutty, honeyed, toffee-forward bourbons that define a distillery's core house style. So why does the location matter so much? Again, placing two barrels side by side with the same mash bill, fill date, and age statement, one in a low river valley, one on a windy ridge, and you can taste the difference immediately. It's like moving a kid from Minnesota to Arizona. Same DNA, totally different upbringing. Location controls flavor, intensity, proof, oak balance, sweetness, mouthfeel, and barrel individuality. The takeaway? Bourbon doesn't just age in the barrels. It ages in a living, breathing campus ecosystem. Where the barrel lives is its personality, its mood, its zip code of flavor. Even trees matter. They act as natural windbreaks, sun blockers, and microclimate moderators, subtly shaping how bourbon ages. Where a rickhouse sits relative to trees or where barrels are tucked in shaded corners can quietly change the flavor journey of every barrel. Barrels near dense tree lines are protected ones, blocking strong winds, reducing sun exposure, stabilizing temperatures, and slightly raising local humidity via transpiration. These barrels age slower and more consistently. Oak extraction is gentle, proof swings are minimal, mouthfeel stays sweet and plush, and tannins are soft. The result is smooth, approachable bourbon with honey, red or dark fruit, creamy pie-filling richness, floral notes, perfect for quiet sipping and contemplative moments. Barrels in open sun with no tree protection by contrast live life on the edge. Full sun, higher airflow, faster evaporation, and larger proof swings push whiskey hard into the wood and yank it back out aggressively. Oak extraction is faster. Tannins spike, proof climbs, and flavors intensify. These barrels produce bold, spicy, woody, high-proof monsters with notes of dry oak, coffee, dark chocolate, and aggressive heat. The statement bourbons that stomp into your glass and make sure you know they mean business. Even partial tree lines or shaded sections matter. A row of trees, a tucked away wall, or a shaded corner can lower summer stress on barrels, slow the angel's share, preserve subtle fruit and sweetness, and moderate extreme flavors from top floors or sun-facing sides. In short, trees let some barrels grow up calmer, more balanced, and sweeter than their sunny exposed neighbors. The takeaway? In bourbon, shade isn't just shade, it's personality insurance. As this episode comes to an end, I like to recap because we have talked about a lot. When you start layering floor height, airflow, humidity, sun exposure, window type, nearby water, and tree shade, the rickhouse stops being a simple storage building and starts feeling more like a bustling neighborhood, complete with its own microclimates, hidden corners, and personality-packed barrels. Remember, trees and shade act as bourbon's secret nanny, smoothing the harsh edges of nature's extremes and giving each barrel room to develop its own character. They block harsh winds, soften scorching sun, slightly raise local humidity, and create pockets where barrels can age gently while their unshaded neighbors are sweating through heavy oak extraction and proof swings. The effect is surprisingly noticeable, even barrel to barrel. Remember, you can place 2 barrels on the same floor, along the same wall, same mash bill, same fill date. Let one enjoy the cool comfort of tree shade while the other faces open sun. And suddenly, you have a small but meaningful difference. The shaded barrel is calmer, more balanced, with softer tannins, syrupy mouthfeel, and plush, sweet flavors like honey, cherry, cream, and pie filling. Its sunny neighbor, by contrast, is punchy, assertive, spicier, higher in tannins, and a little more aggressive in both flavor and proof, ready to announce itself in the glass. Shade also interacts beautifully with other factors. Bottom floors plus tree shade double down on dessert-style plushness. Top floors plus tree shade tame some of the top floor heat, giving more balance to barrels that would otherwise become untamed, fiery monsters. In essence, trees create subtle microzones within the same rickhouse, adding to individuality to each barrel without touching the mash bill or barrels themselves. They moderate extremes, preserve sweetness, and allow softer flavors to flourish, proving that in bourbon, location, microclimate, and a little leafy intervention can be just as important as time in the barrel. Trees don't just decorate the property, they are silent guardians of flavor, the unsung nannies that quietly make sure your whiskey grows up well-mannered, delicious, and full of personality. So there you have it, hunters. Bourbon doesn't just age, it grows up. And its rickhouse, hometown shapes every sip. Sweet, silky dessert bombs or bold, spicy monsters, it's all in the air, the sun, the floor, and the water. Next time you taste a single barrel, remember, you're tasting a zip code. Cheers to knowing your whiskey a little better. And that wraps up today's group session. If this episode validated your life choices, or made you question them, smash the like button so YouTube knows you're emotionally unstable about bourbon too. Subscribe for more bottle hunts, bad decisions, and bourbon therapy sessions. Drop a comment and confess. What bottle are you hunting? What bottle hurt you? And what bottle you absolutely did not need but somehow own now? Hide your receipts, drink responsibly, and I'll see you in the next meeting of Bourbon Hunter Anonymous.